AAA says this is arguably one of the worst stretches of road in the entire D.C. area.
Approximately 7 hours, they were able to stop 49 vehicles. This is during the daylight hours. Of those 49 vehicles, one vehicle was doing 100 miles an hour. The average speed, Doctor, as you mentioned, was 78.
Acting Prince George's County Police District 7 Commander Jim Coletti describes just one day of enhanced enforcement on just 10 miles of Route 210 Indian Head Highway. That stretch of road has claimed 6 lives this year. That is despite county police writing more than 3,300 traffic citations, most of them for speeding.
We've got Mothers Against Drunk Driving, for intoxicated driving. We've got Noah's Law that's been passed. We got nothing for speeding.
Residents of Fort Washington and surrounding communities gathered to advocate for safety improvements on the road, which has been the scene of 47 fatal crashes since 2007, according to the Maryland Highway Safety Office. Reverend Tierney Screen has been called upon more than once to comfort the families of victims.
It is not an easy thing to deal with. It's the devastation, the sense of loss, and then the suddenness of it is unbearable to the families.
Well, anguish tonight for a Maryland mother after the death of her daughter on one of Maryland's most dangerous roads. The young woman killed at an intersection near Indian Head Highway. Her mother tells us she was on her way to a job interview.
Just last night, we picked out what she was going to wear, and she left out this morning. I should have just took her. I should have took her. I should have took her.
In Prince George's County this evening, you might remember this crash where 8 people were killed in a street race in Accokeek. Now, that stretch of Indian Head Highway, known for illegal racing for years. In fact, AAA says in just the last 10 years, 50 deadly crashes have happened along that road. And you can see here, this is a map that shows basically what we're talking about, and all the red gives you an indication of all the deadly crashes that have taken place.
Tonight on News 4, a heartbreaking tragedy in Oxon Hill. 3 children are dead after a multi-vehicle crash on Indian Head Highway. You're looking at live pictures from the scene. The highway closed in both directions. Good evening. I'm Erica Gonzalez. The vehicles slammed into each other on Indian Head Highway at Wilson Bridge Drive. 3 children were killed, 2 adults injured.
I should also say to you that no amount of enforcement will matter unless the community accepts its responsibility as well. We have to change the behavior of motorists who travel on this road. Simply stopping a motorist, putting out speed cameras, putting all of our resources through police cars and other things on this road will not have the intended effect unless everyone understands that they have a responsibility as well to slow down, to be more careful, to remember that it is our neighbors who are traveling on this road. It is our family members who are traveling on this road. As we go to work and come home, it's our loved ones who travel on this road. And so we all have a responsibility to change our conduct as we drive and travel on this road.
Since 2015, fatal collisions have been a front page issue for the Prince George's County Police Department. That's when we began tracking it the same way we track both property crime and violent crime. And we've had success. But the reality is, and the numbers are here, each year, the aggregate number of accidents has remained largely the same, despite the fact that in the last 3 years, we've gone from more than 3,600 traffic stops to 5,600 traffic stops to 2018, more than 6,400 traffic stops. And I want you to know that the men and women of the Prince George's County Police Department issued more than 10,000 citations in those 6,400 traffic stops, made more than 70 arrests, and yet we still have this level of collision, this level of tragedy, if we look back to the events of just last week.
And I'm glad to see all of you here. We're all here to save lives. The tragic death of 3 children points out that you don't have to live here to be involved in a fatal crash on 210. But the people who live here, like me, and think 210 is our main street, take all the fatalities on Indian Head Highway very personally. The community of people who live around 210 have uniquely banded together, working with our government to reduce the risk of driving on what AAA says is the deadliest highway in the region. And we've made significant progress, but the effort must continue until we no longer have to come together like this to mourn additional deaths. Police are out in force, the state highway is changing the first of several intersections into interchanges and making near-term improvements to lighting and signs. Our legislators have approved the first speed camera, has been mentioned, on a high-speed highway that's not in a work zone or speed zone. Our community is increasingly aware of the risks of irresponsible driving. We even have our middle school students involved in getting us to drive safely. But as has been mentioned, we need to do more and we need to do it faster. An already overburdened highway will get even more overburdened as the population in areas served by 210 dramatically increases. But there's no plan to increase 210 capacity by adding lanes. The current plan will improve failing road conditions, but only to approaching unstable flow conditions. There's not even funding for the remaining intersection upgrades. And it takes many years from the time we find funding until we see actual construction. The plan that we have removes traffic signals and increases the length of straightaways without signals. Speeding drivers will therefore be unimpeded by red lights. There's no single magic bullet to make Indian Head Highway safe, but I know that saving lives on 210 takes even more than construction and enforcement. It takes changing behavior. My behavior, your behavior. Our cars aren't failing. The highway doesn't crash into us. The police don't drive our cars. The laws can't stop us from doing dumb things. We need to be better drivers. It's going to take a long time for us to change, but with a great deal of effort over a generation, we've changed the behavior and decreased smoking and increased seatbelt use. It can be done. Behavior can be changed. We must make this same kind of sustained effort to save our children's lives. Thank you.
Reverend Dr. Robert Screen helps people through their hardest times along Route 210.
I've run into accidents when I'm pulling out my vest and going as a clergy member to an accident scene.
When he's not working on the highway, he's at the hospital hoping to comfort the injured and those who have lost loved ones to this road.
This is the most dangerous area for traffic fatalities in the state of Maryland.
He's lived here more than 40 years and remembers each fatal crash along 210 with photographic detail, like the crash at this very spot in 2008.
There were 8 people that were killed in one particular accident.
It was due to drag racing and the beginning of a nasty trend.
Well, since that time, we've had 2 additional accidents that have occurred not 50 yards from this spot, right in the intersection here at Pine Drive.
Then there were the 3 children who were killed on New Year's Eve of last year, just a few miles north of here.
All of them are bad, but when you have children who haven't even got a start in life to lose them all in one incident, that was terrible. That was really something that took the wind out of all of us.
These white doves released into the air served as a tribute and reminder of the dozens of lives lost along one of the most dangerous roadways in the D.C. area.
The accident happened in 2005. I've not recovered. Javon's life was taken away at the age of 21.
Well, Brianna, locals call this the highway of death. 2 fatal crashes here in as many weeks.
It's very tough.
It was March 17th, 2000, when Cynthia Jones's sister Karen pulled over to fix her gas cap when she was hit by a drunk driver. Cynthia identified her sister's body.
She would want me out here to make a difference in saving more lives because she didn't have to go that way.
The crash happened here on Indian Head Highway in Maryland. Last year, the highest recorded speed here was 149 miles per hour. Safety advocates call it the highway of death.
It's a straight shot and a few traffic lights, and people use it as a raceway. If you want to speed, this is the place to do it.
Both vehicles went up in flames.
Reverend Dr. James Screen says 80 people have been killed on this stretch of Indian Head Highway in the last 15 years. He says directing more federal funding to combat dangerous driving is only the start of a road to lasting change.
It's got to be hard to see. I mean, you're doing this interview and people are whizzing by you.
Yes, that's a part of the indifference that people have about driving. As I say, this contemptuous type of entitlement mindset. You know, I do as I please, whatever I can get away with. And so we have to hit that head on in some type of way where it won't be all people, but at least most people, where we can manage it in a better way than what we're doing now.
Indian Head Highway has a well-earned and very bad reputation.
You go down the Indian Head Highway, take your life in your hands. People don't believe in speed limits or stop signs.
The speeding is just unbelievable.
Just last year, 10 people died in crashes here.
It's the deadliest highway in the area. You know, we need to do something to slow people down and to get these reckless speeders to change their behavior or get them off the road.
Activist Ron Weiss is among those who convinced state lawmakers 3 years ago to allow police to set up 3 speed cameras here along the highway, even though they aren't in school or construction zones as Maryland law generally requires. But it was only for a 3-year trial period. That ends this September. Now, Weiss wants the cameras to remain.
This is our main street, and we don't want to buy going shopping.
They're going to begin the process of towing away the striking vehicle. If we zoom in here, you can see that black sedan there with heavy front end damage. That is the car that struck the officer and struck the officer's cruiser. If we pan over, you can see the cruiser itself there. It has damage to the side of the vehicle there. Now, this all happened at about 4:40 this morning. What we're told is that there was another accident in the area, actually further down the line on 210. This Prince George's County police officer was directing traffic because of that initial accident, and that's when the sedan hit the officer and hit the police cruiser. Now, the officer was taken to the hospital, we're told, in serious condition. We don't have any updates beyond that, so serious condition. The driver of the striking vehicle did stay on the scene. I don't believe that person was taken to the hospital.
It's horrible, man. I hope they're okay. Split the car in half. God, I hope they're okay.
A crushed safety barrier and the debris left from a violent crash. It happened last night at about 9:30 when a Jeep Compass carrying 5 women celebrating one of their 70th birthdays slammed into the end of a Jersey wall at the Kirby Hill Road exit. Traffic safety advocate Robert Screen calling it a tragic but all too familiar scenario here along what has long been among the most dangerous roads in Maryland.
I'm not totally surprised, but I'm always disturbed. I put it that way.
Despite highway engineering improvements and years of advocacy for aggressive enforcement, including the addition of 6 speed cameras, Indian Head Highway continues to claim lives. This is the second fatal crash at this exact spot this year.
I've sit down with the remaining family members, and that's tough. That's a tough call because it's something that does not have to happen.
7 News on your side asking the State Highway Administration if after 3 deaths this year, the design of this off-ramp could itself be dangerous. We are told that they will now be conducting an engineering review of the entire interchange.
It just befuddles me that something that is so controllable is so much out of control.
Now, tougher enforcement is already coming to Indian Head Highway. Under a new law, there's going to be graduated fines kicking in October 1st. The faster you go, the bigger your fine, up to $425.
In addition, Prince George's County Police say they've issued more than 2,000 citations and warnings to drivers along this roadway so far this year. The exact cause of last night's crash remains under investigation. In Fort Washington, Brad Bell, 7 News.
If you want to do something about it, adopt the recommendation of the NTSB. You'll save lives. Get off and do something.